through the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast.
What's up, everybody? How we all doing this Saturday night? It's the Transformers Slag Podcast and our live stream main event. Your host, Proto Man. I am the face that runs this place. I'm the voice here Monday to Friday, and it is Saturday. And we had a dramatic week of Transformers news. You thought it would just be the Transformer Tuesday with the fan stream, and then it was just one thing after another, and the fighting that was going on, and the arguing, and the I'm going to kill each other. We're going to cover all of that and more. We have a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that we have in hand to show you guys. You might have seen me tease it a little bit throughout the week. We got a lot of stuff we got to cover today. But how we all doing? Who do we got in the chat today? Who do we got? We got Rudy Mack. We got Billy B, one of our patrons. We got Robotimus Toys, one of our patrons. Decepticon 4F, one of our YouTube members. Will Murphy. James is here. Who else is here? Rodimus Supreme, one of our patrons. Patrick Brown. Twins Corner, one of our patrons is here. Young is here. What's up? What's up? What's up? We got everybody in the house today. So, we're going to go over a lot of this. I know we have a lot to discuss. Got a lot of water here. I got 2 bottles of water because I had a feeling like, man, we got a lot today. We got a lot today. Twins Court, I might as well answer your question here right now at the top. Redrick, how you doing? You sent me a message about Aaron Archer with his stuff. What I would suggest is, because what you want for your Posca paintings is probably one of the more intricate ones, I would suggest probably going on Aaron's website, archermonster.com/shop, or his Instagram, and private messaging him and telling him what your plans are, because I'm going to be honest with you, what you're asking might be one of the more upper end expensive ideas, because a lot of people have asked for those ones. So I would suggest contacting him so you can know the exact amount. Alrighty? Just to help you out there. Let's get into, we'll talk more about Aaron with his Poscas too, because we got all of that. What's up, Horndal, Ninjatron? Let's get into it. So we're going to start first with the PulseCon exclusive listing. Now, keep in mind, this image is not the actual exclusive. This is just a concept by Grimlockimus from Twitter. A general idea of what he thinks potentially a Nemesis Prime could look like. And we have this again, PulseCon 2025. PulseCon DTC direct-to-consumer Commander Class Armada Nemesis Prime with the Vorpal Saber. I love how they use the Vorpal Saber, keeping that Hasbro trademark alive through Dungeons & Dragons. Anything is possible. But yeah, so this is going to be the Commander. It's going to have the trailer. So we're going to finally get to see some kind of super mode for this thing that's never been done before. Also kind of curious what color they're going to paint the Matrix on the inside. How the Vorpal Saber is going to look, because while Japan kind of associated it with the Dark Saber, in the show itself, it was more of just like a red and black. So, with no details really. JT Prime 17 did confirm that it is going to be 3 separate mini-cons that are transformable that will make up the sword. So we will see. We will see. But very interesting. And again, if it's a Commander class and it comes with some extras like that, of course, of 3 separate mini-cons at, let's assume like a 3 weaponizer price point, or maybe even a deluxe class price point. This is probably going to be like Commander class plus deluxe. So what are we talking, like $89.99 plus another $24.99? So we will see how this one turns out. It's a black repaint. Right away, that tells me there's going to just be sales just based on that. Black repaint, Optimuses always sell well. It's one of those classic cases of, you want to make easy money, just paint an Optimus black and put it out in the market. And, most of the time, too, these Optimuses are harder to get, either because they're store exclusives, convention exclusives, or somehow are a late wave idea. Even the original Bendy Nemesis Prime from Armada, which was the deluxe class, a lot tougher to get because he was a later wave guy. So very, very interesting how this will go about. But we will see. We will see. We'll stay tuned with that. PulseCon historically in Hasbro's history has been a September, October kind of ordeal. Sometimes it's in September, sometimes it's in October. So we'll probably be learning more about this like maybe in August. That's probably our best bet. Maybe you might even get a little bit of a teaser or a reveal at San Diego. So we will see, because we've had some of our past PulseCon exclusives kind of teased or revealed at San Diego. So very strong possibility with that. But it's really cool. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was kind of expecting the Power Links colors to come first, only because those have a little bit more of a fictional tie and also are kind of like a pseudo black repaint. So it's like a black repaint, kinda, and it has a little bit of history behind it and fiction behind it. So it would have been cool to get that one. And I mean, that led to the awesome final battle between Optimus and Megatron in Armada, which was called Mortal Kombat. No joke, that's literally what the episode was called. But still very cool. I dig it. And then, of course, let's talk about the actual fan stream itself and all the Studio Series stuff that was shown there. Not much really that I could talk about. This was all stuff that we saw in different shapes or forms over literally the sad thing about this is every single item here we saw through leaks or stolen toys or anything in different shapes or forms. The only takeaway is if you go check out my individual segment about these is we go more deeply into the designer notes, the histories, the thought process. Oh, why'd we do this? Why'd we do that? Oh, what to expect in the future from certain toolings and stuff. So at least there's some fun things going on there that we could look forward to. Again, the big takeaway is that Megatron is not taking a lot of box real estate. Hey, Grimlock is getting reissued, so you got a good opportunity to get a figure that went up insanely in money. And we learned that Devastator is going to be one shot, and then that's it. And then they're doing nothing with that tooling for minimum 2 years. So don't expect a box set. Don't expect a re-release. Don't expect a reissue. Don't expect a G2 Shattered Glass color scheme Tonkinator. Don't expect any of that. Toy colors they even suggested. So get it now while you can. Which I mean, between the Grimlock, the Megatron, the Devastator limbs, that's a lot of prime scalper retail, flavoring there. So oof. It's going to be a little nutty with these guys. I'm kind of curious what the secondary market prices are going to be on all of these, specifically those four that I just mentioned, in like, let's say, 2 to 3 months from now when they're no longer easily available. So stay tuned for that, and we'll keep you posted. We'll do maybe a little Transformer finance segment on that one. Then we got some of the new stuff they showed off. They're doing this new stuff where now they're going to be showing us EP1 prototypes and everything. So that's pretty cool. And first one we got here is the Studio Series Deluxe Class Transformers 1 Arachnid, which I think this thing looks amazing. If you check out my individual segment, I kind of compare it to what we got back in the day when we had Transformers animated with Lockdown, where you had these, like, I call them, well, it was Nate who coined the term, but I'm going to like now take it because it's such a good term, like this Deluxe Plus, where it's like, yeah, it's a deluxe class, but damn, did we squeeze every penny into it. And this thing looks fantastic. It looks huge. The detail is amazing, but then again, most of the time, these gray prototypes, always the detail really pops with the gray resin coloring. And man, it looks really good. I just love how it turned out. The fact that the wheel, the I guess like we'll call it the rotor for the drone mode, like that turns, and the transformation looks great, and just so much cool little details. The only thing they said that like they had to deviate away from the animation model was just for it to be able to stand properly, they had to put some like extra heels on the back of her robot mode, but that's about it. Otherwise, they pretty much were pretty true to the animation model. And considering how up to this point, she just had just the worst ever singular figure release. which she had just that little, cog changer that turned into what looked like, what do you call it? Tarantulas' little drones and stuff. Like, it's just, my goodness, like, what a mess that was. And considering that she was a good portion of the movie, you know what I mean? And yet, like, she got such a terrible figure. So it's nice that she has this now. It looks great. I wonder if the back of her head opens up and there's the extra detail. I think they would have showed that in the segment, but we'll see. We'll see. Looks great though. Fantastic. And again, a deluxe class, which is extremely, extremely well done. And then speaking of extremely well done, we also have, come on, there we go. We got the Alpha Trion Voyager class here. They said, well, they went with Voyager because they want something that clearly is larger than the deluxe classes that we've gotten before with the Optimus, the Megatron, the Bumblebee, the Elita. They want something that towers over them, even if they're like upgraded with cogs in their chests and stuff. And he looks great. The sword weapon is just something that there was kind of just, hey, we got to do something with that tail. And it's also a play value kind of item and a post value kind of item. So I think it looks great. They also said that there's extremely fine details on the back of it. They're going to put a lot of paint deco into it to give it really that weathered, mossy kind of look. So if you have the warrior slash mainline Alpha Trion, that could be your like, your A3 Alpha Trion almost, your pre-war Alpha Trion. And then this one could be your like, this is the one that was buried in the according to the trading cards, the mouth of Unicron. I know that's not the correct term to go by, but that's literally what the trading card calls that mountain, the mouth of Unicron. And yeah, check it out, pretty cool. I can't wait to see the full color version of it. Hell, even the red and blue here, these prototype colors, excuse me, these test shot EP2 colors, even these look kind of nice. It gives me a little bit of a Point Blank vibe, a little bit of that going on, maybe a little bit of toy Perceptor, but still kind of looks nice in those colors too. Too bad they don't have a shot of the robot mode with that. Kind of curious how convoy looking it would have looked, but still very, very cool. I dig it. I dig it. Again, any Transformer One product that's now done on the high end nature, I'm more welcome to that. It's kind of like how I felt with Cyberverse, where I liked Cyberverse the show, but 99% of the product for like literally the first 2 years of that show were like gimmick warrior based and everything. And I passed on so many of it just because I was waiting for proper deluxes, which came later. And it's kind of the same thing. Like Transformers 1 came out of the gate in theaters, and we just had Optimus and then Megatron after the fact, that was it for our studio series. No masterpieces out of the gate, no nothing. So it's something where, it's just nice to have some high end figures. Look, even Rise of the Beast had a few good like high end items out of the gate where we just didn't have that. So nice to see it here. Nice to see it now. And then of course Nate posed the question to you guys, and quite an important one, because I get a feeling while it's something they're not going to be able to react to now, I think it's something that will definitely affect product over the next, let's say, 2 years. And it's that of, do you want to see toys of characters from season 1, season 2 of the Generation 1 cartoon that did not appear in the 86 movie in the Studio Series 86 segmentation or subline? And the voting came in that moment in the first 5 minutes, and it was like a resounding, like, I think like 83 to 86% was yes. And kind of ironic, actually, now that I think about it. It got 86% yes. I wonder if that was rigged. Either way. And I agree with it. I mean, I said it before in my individual segment that Studio Series really has its own design philosophy that we don't have in our Legacy Generations Age of the Primes product. Like, you could do a Legacy or Age of the Primes, animated character or a Cyberverse character or whatever, and you could almost call it like, oh, it's going to be Cyberverse Chromia. And then you could deviate from how she looks in the show because there is no design philosophy in Generations. Generations is, yes, it's that character, but we don't have to be 100% slavishly loyal to the silhouette of it, the design of it, the veneering of it, the animation model, where Studio Series is all about the design philosophy of the animation model, the scale. And that's where you could get a lot of really good looking stuff. I don't think Jazz, if he would have been, part of like, let's say Kingdom or Legacy, would have looked the way he does in Studio Series. Same thing with Hot Rod. I think they would have just done something a little more safer, like they've done in the past with Jazzes and Hot Rods over like Power of the Primes or Titan's Return before it would Hot Rod. Different design philosophies, So I think that it would be cool only because not only would we get really accurate figures, but it also gives a good opportunity to give characters that people missed out on. A lot of people are still screaming about, deluxe class Earthrise Prowl. Now it's a great time to put a Studio Series 86 Prowl and then just put it there, and that'll be that. And then it could be done even better than the Earthrise one. And then much like the Earthrise Ironhide, think about it. Earthrise Ironhide was going for crazy money, and then they did a Studio Series 86 one, and say goodbye to that Ironhide. No one cared about that one anymore. Why? Completely different design philosophies. So that's what I see. And I could get behind that. I could totally get behind that. And if they want to rename it, they'll call it Studio Series 85, I don't know, or 84, or just Studio Series G1, just to like give it a blanket statement. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. So let's see what happens with that. So far, it looks like it's well received by the fans. Hopefully, Hasbro gets that clue in, and then we'll figure it out from there. What's up, Larry? So we'll see. We will see. But that was something that Nate posed, and it's the same thing. Just like the week before that, Nate posed like, what do you guys want to see from Commander class? And that was like when it was the segment with Mark, and people were like, hey man, we just want to see more combiners. So clearly Hasbro is really pulling the hardcore fans to get an idea of what they would like to see, and then they take a realistic business decision based on that information. So we'll see how that goes down. But very cool. What's up, Ashnud? What's up, David? Then we have, this was recent news. So Cybertron International on the Chinese message boards. This has been a very reliable source. Probably a factory worker. I wouldn't be surprised. Saying that there's going to be a next MPG will be MPG 19, and it's called Sonic Soundwave. Now, the speculation is that they're going to take the Masterpiece Soundwave that we got before, both released in America and in Japan, and the Sonic Soundwave. For people that are familiar with what Sonic Soundwave is, that's another way to say the white repaint. The very first white repaint of Soundwave was not Shattered Glass, but was actually a iPod slash MP3 player back in the day with the music label line. And you had the regular Soundwave, you had Sonic Soundwave, that was the white one because it wanted to be like a white iPod. So you had to have a white color scheme. And again, it was just a player. What's up, Bigum? And so I'm going to assume this is probably their way to do a Shattered Glass one without calling it Shattered Glass. They could just call it Sonic Soundwave, and maybe it'll come with like a green bandana or something. But we will see how that goes down. Again, this is just all they said here is, hey, remember MP13 Masterpiece Soundwave? Yeah, it's going to be repainted into MPG 19 Sonic Soundwave. No deeper information on that. I'm just taking a guess based on Sonic Soundwave that it's going to be the white repaint. That's all I could take away from it. So that's just recent news as of today from a quite reliable source that I'm telling you is probably a factory worker, in that of the Cybertron International. Sabertron International. So we'll see that. And then we have double Robert Kirkman news. First, we had, of course, the news of potentially Robert Kirkman from Skybound and Image selling in to streaming services a Transformers G.I. Joe cartoon series based off of his Energon universe. And then we were followed up with also Robert Kirkman and Dan Mora taking over the Transformers book after issue number 25. So I could see why this is happening one after the other, in that there wants to be some kind of synergy where the show is going to come out. And then, obviously, much like what we saw with Walking Dead, much like we saw with Invincible, the screen is going to get the eyeballs, which is going to get the attention of people, which then hopefully will then transform into comic book sales for them. And this is something that I got to give Image credit for, that Marvel keeps messing up, which is we have to recognize that the TV screen, the movie screen, has so many more eyeballs than the comic books do, even though the comic books are the source material. But what happens is, and Marvel was so guilty of this, and I don't know, like they need to fire whoever was there at that time. But you don't put out a Thor movie, and then people get excited about Thor, and then when they go to the comic book store, at the time, I believe Jane Foster was Thor, and there was no new Thor comic books to be found that represented even a glimmer of what the movie was selling you. And you have to have that kind of cohesion. At the time, back in the early 2000s, when Marvel had a different editor in chief, when they put out Spider-Man and when they put out, when they put out X-Men first and then Spider-Man, those two first Marvel movies back in the day in the early 2000s, they recognized that there was a new audience of people that were going to be coming in and wanting to read comic books because of these movies. And thus the ultimate universe was created, a fresh start that represented kind of more or less what was going on the screen, not 100%, but close enough. And it was a safe way. And the Marvel in the modern era missed a lot of money by not having, Tony Stark in the Iron Man armor when the Iron Man movie was out. Same thing with so many others. Like by the time the Avengers movie came out, most of those characters didn't exist in any shape or form in the comic books. It took them much more time afterwards to then, reverse course and fix things. But they lost so many impulse sales and people who would have gotten into comic books leaving a movie theater, going like, oh my God, I love this. You know what? I'm going to go to this comic shop that I've never gone to before. And I think that Robert Kirkman is recognizing that from the outside looking in and going, you know what? If people watch this Energon universe, let's say it's a Netflix series, right? If we watch this Energon universe Netflix series and then people get into it and then go, oh my God, you know what? I want to read the comics. There's going to be a consistency and a cohesion because they're going to go to the comic store. They're going to pick up the comics. The comics are going to be written by the same guy that's selling in the cartoon here, and everything will work out. So it's all very smart business. Let's put it that way. And I respect that heavily because you need to have that kind of smart business sense in order to survive when it comes to branding. And Marvel movies, well, at a point were doing very well, but the comic book side of it just never made sense. Here's these movies that are breaking every box office record, and comic books were selling just as low as they were ever before because there was no cohesion. There was no like, hey, you see this, go and read that, and that was a big missed opportunity to grow a whole new audience and stuff. But that's Disney Marvel for you. What a terrible world we live in. And I love Marvel. I just don't like Disney Marvel. I don't like the people behind Disney Marvel. I'm very apprehensive of their business decisions and especially their longevity of it. I don't think at their core anyone there are comic book fans. They've won too many times through interviews really shown that they really don't know what they're talking about and they've never picked up a comic book. I guarantee you could probably put a gun to most of their heads and go, tell me who Jack Kirby is. And they're going to be like, a Nintendo character? That's the pink guy that eats things, right? Like they don't know. They don't know. And so I have a lot of faith in Skybound. I have a lot of faith in Image Comics, and I have a lot of faith in their ability to be businessmen and to give us something fresh for Transformers, where over the past couple of years, both on the streaming side and on the television side, we've been not doing very well in terms of fiction. Like I could go as far back of like Robots in Disguise 2015. Kind of gray, kind of a wet fart, for lack of better words. No one really cared about that. Cyberverse was fun, but it was completely castrated by being a 10-minute episode, and on top of that, not having good toy product. So even if the show was good, like none of the Optimus toys were good for the longest time. It's like, oh wow, Windblade's amazing. She's literally the co-star of the show. She didn't have one decent figure from Cyberverse the entire run of that. She had that one warrior class that didn't even transform properly. Like that's how bad it was. And then you get into something like BotBots. It was what it was, but it is what it is, And then you get into something like the War for Cybertron trilogy on Netflix. It was what it was, but it is what it is. Some of those were really kind of hit or miss. And it's something now that hopefully, we get something that we could all be really excited about. And again, Robert, if you are listening, please do a weekly format. Don't do a bingeable format. Trust me, it benefits Netflix. If you do 12 episodes, that means if someone just gets a Netflix streaming service just for Transformers, they're going to have to at least keep it for 2.5 months. You do it in a binge format, they could watch all 12 episodes in a night and then they could cancel their subscription service. Like, think about the long run. Think about the water cooler mentality of people watching these episodes week by week, deciphering them, being excited about them, talking about them. Oh, what's going to happen next? That is so much better for the community, so much better for the longevity, and make it happen, my friend. Great stuff. Hope to see you at SDCC. And yeah, man, just great. Just great. Yeah, and Invincible came out weekly. I agree. And that's that, but that's just it. But let's hope. Let's hope, because they didn't say that this is a Netflix thing. I'm going to assume it is, but who knows? It's Transformers. They might want to go Paramount. And then Paramount might want to drop all 12 episodes in one sitting, you know? So we'll see what happens. But let's hope. And then we got this other piece of news to chew on. Michael Bay coming back, and Josh Cooley coming back, and 5 movies in development in different times. Yeah, that's I don't know. That one, I understand the suits at Hasbro, specifically Hasbro West Coast, specifically that crew, Hasbro Studios in California. I understand their logic. If you look at who has made money up to this point, yes, it's Mr. Michael Bay. Mikey Bay made the money. But it also was a different time. If you actually pay attention to when it started to turn, when the numbers started to be less, when the toy sales started to be less, literally, Dark of the Moon came out, and so did Avengers. And then that was the turning point. And then all of a sudden, the sales were just not as good anymore. Yes, they were still turning profits, but they weren't the crazy numbers that you could hope for. Age of Extinction did well. That was a Chinese manufactured movie filmed in China, made for China. There was a lot of hope there. And then China started paying attention to the Avengers. It was all about the time. The thing is, we could look at the numbers of when Michael was successful, but it also was a different time. We didn't have Marvel movies in the same way we had them today. We didn't have Star Wars making its grand return like we do today. Transformers really blazed the way for a lot of that. Think about what was like these nostalgic acts of live action movies in any shape or form back in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. Like, there really wasn't much. Transformers kind of blazed the trail, and as a result, that was that. But then all the superhero movies really started coming out, and then DC started to follow suit, and then all of a sudden all these other brands started doing their stuff, and now people are tired of it. So even if you bring back Michael Bay, and I know people are telling me like, oh hey, Michael Bay's never been gone. Yeah, but he was a producer before. Like, oh hey, Michael Bay, Michael Bay was the producer of Transformers 1. Tell me how much of his DNA was in Transformers 1. 0, But when he was a director, he had a certain style, he had a certain way that he did things, and I don't know if it really moved the needle that much. I know some people were suggesting doing the Jurassic Park thing, where you bring back Michael Bay, but you also bring back Shia LaBeouf and what's her name there? Oh my God, why am I blanking on her right now? She just did a movie not too long ago too. Who was Michaela? Come on, what's her name? Why am I blanking? I'm tired today. Uh, but it's just something where Megan Fox. There we go. But you bring back Megan Fox, you bring back John Turturro, you bring back the parents. You bring back whatever you can, and just try to recreate that action in a bottle. Try to get that excitement somehow. I don't know how. Here comes all the Megan Foxes. There's a little bit of a delay on the podcast, so I don't see the chat until usually like 10 seconds after. But it's something where people are like going, oh, do this. But here's the thing: they did that for the Jurassic Park movies, and they did okay. But I don't know. I don't know. It's something where I think I think Transformers as a film needs to go away for a bit. It needs to heal. I feel like it's been running crazy for the past couple of years, and because it's been running crazy for the past couple of years. Oh, Butters, what's up? Come on up, Butters. It's something where Transformers has been running hard for the past couple of years, and I really feel that when you run hard, you have to stop and take a breather. You got to relax for a moment, and you got to just figure things out. And I think that in the case of Transformers, I think they really need to just take a moment to breathe. James Hopkins, what about a Studio Trigger series? Well, look, hey, I'm always down for Japan to do anything. Like, I'm 200% down for Japan. Like, if you asked me, what do you want your next Transformer series to be? I want it to be Japanese written, Japanese animated, and Japanese run. But the problem is ever since that first Michael Bay movie, Hasbro's been like, ooh, we got to hold on to this forever. I've made this comparison so many times before, but I'm going to do it again just in case there's new listeners. Oh, Butters, you want to jump? Transformers used to have this great passive hot potato thing that they used to do every couple of years. Generation 1, 84 to 87, right? It was Korean animation mixed with a little bit of Toei Japan, written in America, pretty much produced in America, Sunbow Entertainment. Okay? Have the potato. Oh, hey, Headmasters Master Force Victory Zone, Japan. Oh, that's great. Have back the potato. Oh, now we're back here. Generation 2, little bit of production there. The comic books, Simon Furman, all of that. We're doing a British guy's writing it, and actually a British guy's also doing the art with Greg Senior, and all of that kind of stuff. But it's Marvel and everything. Oh, let's throw it to Canada. Here's Beast Wars, Beast Machines. 4 to 5 years of Beast Wars and Beast Machines. Canadian production, mostly Canadian voice actors. Some British writers, actually most of the writers that now I think about were British or American, and stuff like that. Oh, let's pass it now over. Here's Robots in the Skies, Car Robots, Unicron trilogy, which is Armada, Energon, Cybertron, Japan again. Always passing around culturally. So let Japan do it for a bit. And then after Cybertron Galaxy Force, here comes the Michael Bay movie. And then they grab hold and they haven't let go since. And it's been this is where it gets crazy. In 2 years, it's going to be 20 years of America steering Transformers almost exclusively. Yeah, we get like a little micro series on the side with Wild King or Transformers Go, but I'm talking like movies, full-fledged television series, comic books. It's been America down the pipes, nonstop. It doesn't matter if the Japanese show was brought to America. The point is it existed. It was something that was there. Trust me, when Headmasters Master Force Victory and Zone existed, you were watching Ninja Turtles in 87, 88, 89, and 90. You weren't, it doesn't matter where it was. The point is it was wherever the core fiction of Transformers was being made, it was being made by someone else. Because at that time, again, no one cared about Transformers in 87, 88, 89, 90. People were watching Ninja Turtles. People were watching Ninja Turtle movies. They were going to go see a Batman movie for the first time. It was a different world, different time completely. Did I call him Greg? Did I call him Greg? I always call him Greg. Oh well. Either way, I apologize. Jeff. It's Jeff. Jeff. Either way. But it's something where you have to pass it around. You got to let that creativeness. I remember when Transformers Animated had that amazing Japanese intro by I think it was called Studio 7 or Studio 4C. I think Studio 4C was the name. And I remember Derek Wyatt just absolutely like loving it, where it's like, wow, I did this show, but it's like, here's a Japanese spin on it, even if it's just for an intro. And it's something where now they just want to hold on to everything. It's just like, this is our Transformer brand. We don't want to give it to anybody else. And this is Hasbro Studios. And I think also it's got people trying to protect their jobs. There was a writer's room. They want to make sure that they're constantly employed. If they send it over there to Japan and it's super successful, good effing luck. That's the end of that. You're never going to get it back because the fans are going to be like, oh, more of that, because the reality is if it's successful, it's going to stay there, and there's certain people that they're protecting their jobs over the longevity of the brand. And again, I get it. People are going to do what they can to keep hired, even if they lack talent. That's just how it is. That's the industry in general. There's a lot of people, and I don't want to throw shade, but there's a lot of untalented people that are writers that'll do whatever they can to keep their job, even if it means sinking the ship in some cases, you know? What's up, Guillaume Retrick? Am I the only one that wants to see a new adaptation of the Japanese side of G1? Just imagine how cool Star Saber would look in live action. Yeah, you could do Star Saber in live action, but an idea is great, but how do you package that idea? How do you package it in a way that's appealing? Look, you want a new rendition of Star Saber? It was in the James Roberts comics. And hot take, I effing hated it. I love Star Saber. I hated how James Roberts handled Star Saber in the IDW comics. Hated it. I told it to James's face. I told him I hated it. Hated it. I had to sit next to him and he knew that. So it's something where it's like, that's just how it is, yo. That's just how it is. So it's all about how do you package that, though. It could be a cool design. It could be everything. You can get Obari to design it and cool mecha designs. But if the story's not there, if the animation's not good, if the marketing intent is not there, meaning putting out good product that comes out at the same time, people watch the show, get excited about it, run out to Walmart and buy the product, make that impulse sale. What's up, Aaron? How you doing, brother? But if you don't have any of that stuff, you're spinning your wheels. You're spinning your wheels. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, I'm sure we can be talking about it more later today, but it's something where, I don't know. It's hard to say. I feel like me and Aaron should probably record a segment talking about this because it's something that's definitely been on the tips of our tongues to talk about, maybe in the very near future. Definitely that. Coming to a TFCon near you, maybe. Let's get into the last thing, and it's San Diego Comic-Con stuff. So, where am I? Let me go grab this. So last week we showed Coming to San Diego, all those will be also available on the website. The shoulder sitter Laserbeak, which you take off this metallic little thing here. You put it under here if you want. On your wrists or wherever, and then it's good because now I'm not wearing leather, like last time. Oh, almost fell there. And then he sticks on you like that, and then of course you can put it on your shoulder too and everything. So that's the one that's going to be available, but got a new one. So we got the Laserbeak that'll be debuting at San Diego for $24.99 in limited quantities, and then the rest will be on the website, symbiotestudios.com. We have a new reveal. We have the G2 Snarl we're going to be talking about today, which we have in hand. So this is going to be in super limited numbers at San Diego Comic-Con. Again, officially licensed Transformer plush. his dark face like G2, his red eyes, that classic G2 logo going on there. And it'll be in, see, Butters, you already got to it. Jeez. White cats with their fur. And yeah, so he's going to be in super limited quantity at San Diego Comic-Con at the Symbiote Studios booth. Again, warning, last year, the, do I even have it nearby? I don't want to reach for it right now. The sludge with the pop-out eyes from the 86 movie, that sold out fairly quickly, actually. So if you are interested in this, I heavily suggest hitting up the Symbiote Studios booth ASAP to pick up G2 Snarl in limited quantities. Check it out. I love that. The G2 logo right there. When do you ever get to see that? You never get to see that anymore. So very, very cool to see that again. Again, the official Transformer plush from Symbiote Studios. So check that out. That'll be available. Butters, don't touch it. Don't touch it, Butters. And everything. And of course, also, there's going to be an exclusive brand new t-shirt. We're going to have a Catnip Bravo X Grimlock shirt. He's pulling the wheelie there. So that'll also be available on San Diego Comic-Con and later on the website. So you can pick that one up too. That'll also be available. So all of these at San Diego Comic-Con just in a couple weeks from now. I'll be at their booth chilling. Hope to see a whole bunch of cool people there. I know my buddy Pat, the NES Punk, is going to be there. Ego Raptor. Gosh, who else am I supposed to meet up with? Obviously David Cabal, who's in the chat. A lot of cool dudes I got to meet up with when we go down. It's going to be a crazy weekend with the Hasbro crew, with everything with Symbiote Studios. It's going to be nutty. I don't even know where to begin. Not to mention everything that's going on with the Mega Man comic, with Capcom, with Udon, all that stuff that's going to be going on. I'm not going to have any time that weekend. It is going to be crazy. But check it out, yo. All of those San Diego Comic-Con coming up. And we have even more plush reveals in the near future. But stay tuned for that because there's a lot more still coming. Again, Symbiote Studios, the plush, the pins, and the t-shirts. So here is the current breakdown of what's happening. So we got those. We got the Soundwave Superior. We got the pillows that are available. Hopefully the Starscream will also be available by the time we get to San Diego, the Catnip Starscream. And there's still plenty more to be revealed. Still plenty more. So still plenty more. And of course, their video game stuff. They did some new pony stuff too. Apparently there's some My Little Pony stuff that they put out also, some kind of wizard or whatever. So if you're into My Little Pony, they put out a whole bunch of new ones on their website right now, actually. So you could go check those out and some summertime dress-up kits and everything. So if ponies are your thing, check that out too. And Aaron Archer, who's in the chat today, go check out the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Hopefully we'll put out a new segment before TFCon. And of course, check out some new Poscas he put up. He put up that animated Soundwave just today. So go pick that one up. If it isn't already sold out, it's hard to say. Every time I do these slides, something sells out. And the art book. Again, if you are not going to TFCon, I suggest you go on to archermonster.com/shop and pick up this stuff beforehand because all of this stuff you're seeing here will be brought to TFCon Toronto in just a short 2 weeks from now. And when it's there, people are going to buy it and it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. So we will see what's popping with that. There's just so much craziness. Don't forget to bring your shoe covers to the con. Shoe covers? What does that mean? Waiting on a Dr. Hoover's? Is that a pony character? Is that really a pony character? So we'll see what's popping with that, but check it out, yo. Check it out. And of course, Vince Studios. Pick up their Unicron upgrade kit if you have not already. vincestudios.iwarp.com. You know how it works. Get that upgrade kit, make it a 2-in-1. And last but not least, let's do an update. So what's happening with the Mega Man book? So last Wednesday, the original series Mega Man book finally debuted. Again, we got kind of messed over because of everything that was going on with Diamond Distribution. So last Wednesday, New Comic Book Day, the original series Mega Man book debuted. And hopefully before TFCon, hopefully we could get it out next Wednesday for X. Hopefully. Everything's messed up right now with shipping because of Diamond. So hopefully this will all work out and we'll all be good. And we're going to be clear of this easily by the time we get to like September. And then we're under the new distribution along with all the other companies. I know that Image got screwed over. I know a lot of other companies also got messed up. So my Mega Man book, let's aim for early July 2025. That's what's popping. So check that out, yo. And thank you everyone who pre-ordered because pre-orders have sold out for the first prints, and we do have second prints that are on their way because of what happened with all of this. So that's it, more or less, for the sponsorship and everything like that. It looks like a 10 in an hourglass. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You want a cheese sandwich, Fawnhart? Well, we're gonna open it up to questions, take some super chats from the fans and everything like that, and just chill for the rest of the evening. We got a good hour. So, I mean, again, the Michael Bay news probably being the big one more than anything. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. A lot of people always ask me, they're always like, who's my favorite Dinobot? And they think I named the podcast after Slag. But I actually like Snarl. He's always been kind of my favorite. He's always been kind of the the least appreciated, not so much in the 86 movie. Blink and you'll miss him. He's there. So I always like Snarl, and it's cool to get like his G2 version as a SDCC exclusive. So gonna be really cool. I can't wait, honestly, for San Diego. San Diego is gonna be so overpacked with stuff to do that I feel I'm not gonna get everything done that weekend. Like I am gonna be there from like Tuesday to Monday, like literally almost a full week, and I feel I'm still not gonna get everything done. People that I have to meet up with, business stuff I have to get accomplished, and on top of it all, like doing any kind of reporting, you know, is absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane how busy it's going to be, you know. Uh, Cheese Sandwich was voiced by Weird Al. Okay. I don't remember that. My favorite Weird Al thing is UHF, which is his greatest movie. Oh, it was a pony. Oh, that's why. I don't know my ponies. I try to educate myself about My Little Pony Generation 1 stuff from a toy sale perspective because a lot of those end up in my ownership through one way or another, but from buying toy collections. But I don't really know my ponies too well. I know this and that. I know just enough to get by, but not enough to survive. Let's put it that way. So really, really cool stuff. Otherwise, in terms of Snarl, and man, some of those other San Diego Comic Con exclusives they showed off. They showed Hot Wheels is going to be doing a Mario Kart Pauline diecast, which is great because, again, as someone who collects video game merchandise, Pauline, no joke, you could count on one hand how much merchandise she had. She had a Coleco PVC figure in 1982. She had a little figurine during Mario Odyssey that came out, a oversized bootleg that China master distributed, and a plush from China. That is it. That's everything of Pauline merchandise wise officially. If you like, unless you don't want to count trading cards and posters and stuff. So it's crazy that that's all she's had, and two of them were from China as bootlegs. So finally, she's getting a little die cast from Mattel. I hope it's not going to be a nightmare to get it. Like last time, all the exclusives were such a headache to get last time at San Diego. So hopefully, if I could get two of those, because it comes in a nice box, I want to have loose and I want to have one sealed. So I'm going to try to track that down. There's so much other nice stuff there. Like they have like that Jurassic Park San Diego Comic Con Raider set. So much cool things, and of course, stay tuned for the Transformer exclusives that are going to be shown and all that craziness. And it's gonna be quite the weekend. It's gonna be quite the weekend with the Void Rivals set and all of that stuff, man. All of that stuff. All that stuff. The reveals too, the panels, the VIP breakfast, whatever they're gonna bring to that. Usually the VIP breakfast is where the PulseCon exclusive is revealed, so I imagine that's where we're probably gonna see the Nemesis Prime. There was just so much crazy stuff. Yeah, the Shredder Skeletor. Man, and you know what sucks again? Like people don't realize like even when you're at the show, it's so crazy that you can't even get the exclusives. I remember, think about it, I know the guys at Hasbro. I have an in, and even talking to them, it's like, hey man, can I get Death's Head? Can I get Death's Head? They're like, they couldn't even get Death's Head. Like it's insane how like it all has to be done through raffles and it has to be like all this kind of craziness. You have to line up super early, come at the end of the day, and then there's only so many they could sell each day because they want to have enough for each day. It's nuts. And it was the same thing with Mattel. It was the same thing with all of their different things. I think the only one you could walk up to and get what you wanted was Super 7. Now that I think about it, Super 7 was the only one. So credit to Super 7, even though they're going through a whole bunch of craziness right now. Credit to Super 7. At least you could go up to them and get the exclusives. But that's about it. I wonder what they're going to do this time around now that they're going through some financial craziness, how their booth is going to be. Because they always had a cool booth. They always were selling cool stuff. I want to pick up maybe some more of their Transformer stuff. If they're doing on liquidation, that'd be cool. If they bring a whole bunch of stuff just to drop. Uh, yeah, the Lost World Jurassic Park SDCC set. Yeah, man, it looks really good. It looks really good. But again, yeah, it's going to be a nightmare to get. It's going to be an absolute nightmare to get that stuff. Snell Worlds. I'm completing the USS Flag to do a Revenge of the Fallen photo with Optimus Prime and Sam. That'll work. That'll work nice. The USS Flag will definitely be good for a leader class, and for Sam, you could use that Indiana Jones 3 1/4 figure of Mutt. Look that one up. I still have in my collection. I use that as my Sam Witwicky figure still to this day. It's standing on my very first movie one Optimus figure, standing on his shoulder because that's when it came out. It came out around the same time. I think the Indiana Jones movie. I think it came out like early 2008. And then like everyone bought that Mutt that came with the snake. Mutt was the name of Shia's character. So, uh, Clyde getting that Cold Slither set will be impossible to get. Well, that's anything Hasbro. Any of the Hasbro exclusives, the Savage Land stuff, all of that. Take it from me, I was there before the doors open. I am there after the doors close. I am able to talk to those people directly at Hasbro and get stuff happening. And even I couldn't get my hands on this stuff. I had to wait until the end of the weekend. And thank goodness nothing sold out. Thank goodness nothing. If something is a super hot item that's going to sell out in 5 seconds, I would have been screwed. I would have not been able to walk away with Death's Head. Again, thanks to everyone who helped me be able to get stuff because they, for whatever reason, won the raffles and they didn't want to pick up anything, but they won the raffles, so they would pick me up stuff and then I'd give them the money for it. Because man, I just wanted a Death's Head. That was my big goal that whole weekend. Was just that. That was like the coolest because that's like Transformer adjacent. That was like the coolest thing ever. But it's gonna be a nutty weekend. It is gonna be it's gonna be so stacked that I don't and not to mention look, TFCon is in 2 weeks. That's gonna be busy too. Next week, so next week, I'm looking at it off camera. Next week we're gonna be showing off the TFCon exclusive. It's gonna debut right here. As well as the Patreon exclusive for people that are part of the Patreon of the Transformer Slag podcast. We have an exclusive for you also. So there's that's going to be happening. We're going to show both of those next week. So stay tuned for that. We'll keep you posted on all of that stuff. So if you are coming to TFCon and you are a patron, we're going to work something out. If you're not coming to TFCon, we're going to work something out as long as you've been a patron for 2 months or more. So I always like to reward people if you've been a patron with me for a long time. Look, you could join today and, a year from now, it's going to benefit you. Trust me. A lot of cool stuff we've been working on. And I think people are going to dig it. And we've been planning exclusives for this show, the next TFCon, the TFCon after that. We've been behind a whole bunch of craziness. So, but definitely, check that out. Death's Head clearance hard. Yeah, man. That was the thing that killed me was I drove myself nuts to get Death's Head. And then like I went to my GameStop here in Montreal and there he was staring back at me. And I'm like, my God, that whole weekend I was stressing on getting him, and there he was. So it's like, I don't know. It's the same thing. Like, am I going to see the Void Rivals box set at EB Games here in Montreal? Now it's called EB Games. Am I going to see that at EB Games? And all my worrying about getting it that weekend is going to be for naught? Is it going to be the same thing with like the Pauline? Is that going to show up also at EB Games, or is it going to like show up in Target, or is it going to show up in Toys R Us? I mean, I need some like true exclusivity transparency going on. Because if it's going to be a headache, then I'll make it a headache. But if it's going to be a headache and then I find out I had options, come on, guys. Um, but yeah, I was like that with ROM. Yeah, man, that ROM the Space Knight. I still haven't gotten that vintage car back one. You know, like it's killer what they're doing sometimes. It's like I just want the product. Is it so tough just to get the product? I will give you my money. It's so tough. The Optimus Megatron 2-pack also showed up in GameStops. I was seeing it there too. The Fractured Friendship 2-pack. That was also there. All of those were there. I think the only one that I didn't see, what was a San Diego exclusive that I didn't see there? There was something that was San Diego. Oh, the Magic the Gathering stuff didn't show up there. Snell's World with the YouTube member question, Proto, non-transformer question, but are you going to get the SDCC Max Rhino or pre-order everything on July 1st? Well, all of the loyal subject stuff, I'm going to assume are going to be easier to get. So loyal subject, when they had their booth last year, that was something you could go up to and just get it. But there was nothing there. Like I think at the time it was Strawberry Shortcake and Rainbow Bright. The only reason I was there because a certain someone upstairs loves that stuff, and now they do Gem. So there's a Gem exclusive, which loyal subject. What's the deal with the pricing going on there? I'm calling shenanigans on that one. So your Gem and the Holograms doll that you sold at Walmart for $24.99 that came with a whole bunch of extra stuff and everything, that's $24.99. But two dolls is going to be $120. And people are like, oh, it's going to come with a crazy stage. Yeah, a crazy stage made out of cardboard, probably. $120. I'm calling shenanigans, loyal subject. I don't know about that. Um, so it's something where, it is what it is. Uh, Once a man sold quick. Yeah, the Cobra Commander. That one I didn't see. Yeah, that one I didn't see at GameStop. You are right. But that one, again, that's something like, man, they'll never do that again. Why would they do such a deep cut from the G.I. Joe 86 movie? Like, hey, let's do that. And that, Once a Man with the different face sculpts and everything in the fancy box. That's a tough one. You know, that's a tough one. Like Death's Head, that's a whole new tooling that they did. They could totally throw it in a box again and make it a deluxe, build a figure kind of thing or whatever with all the other Marvel Legends stuff that they do. Or they'll do like another HasLab where it's a side item, it's a bonus figure. Red Trick, I had to step away for a minute. Did you say anything good about Jinrai? Not really. Look, we have the Masterpiece one coming out, so I don't think they'll do anything soon while the Masterpiece is fresh on the heels of everything. So if you want a good Goto Jinrai or God Jinrai, um, you have to get the Masterpiece right now with God Bomber. That's the way to go about it. That's the best way to go about it. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Trying to think of what else though, because I know with TFCon coming up, there's going to be we have the charity auction that I'm going to be doing with Ian. There's Aaron Archer and me at his booth. We're going to have our stuff there. Again, I'm gonna do all the announcements next week because that's when we're going to be doing all that stuff. I don't like to talk about it now because people will forget by next week. I always like to keep it fresh in people's minds. It's just how the world works, unfortunately. You know, Commander class Jinrai can't happen because we already got something of that nature. We had the Transformers Legends EX God Jinrai, which came with 3 Titan Masters, the God Bomber, and that was pretty much a Commander class price point. I'm looking at it right now, you know, and I mean, I have it right next to Star Saber, and it kind of works, you know. So it's something where either they just reissue that one, or you'll have to wait a while. But again, Hasbro and Takara doesn't like put out a product and then right away put out something of the same product in a different price point. It's not like they go, "Oh, hey, here's Kingdom Rhinox," and then like 2 months later put out Masterpiece Rhinox. No, there was like a 2 year gap between Kingdom Rhinox and Masterpiece Rhinox. And I think even before that Masterpiece Rhinox, they put out that premium finish one before that even, you know? Well, if the figure sucks, I suggest you go to Takara and cause trouble for them. I suggest getting into a fist fight with Kojin Ono, but I think he knows karate, so you might lose that fight. So tell him it sucks to his face. Ashnud, I think it's called like Alien Force. Oh, you're talking about the Dollar Tree GI Joe stuff. Mike Prime, I feel that the future Power Master Optimus Prime will end up as a HasLab and it'll include God Bomber. Well, again, by it being a Power Master Prime with an Apex armor, aka God Bomber, you're also barking up that Japanese tree. I believe it was Evan that said it, that a lot of the HasLabs are really like Takara going like, we'd really like it if you did this, you know? And I mean, that really tells us a lot about our recent choices. Star Saber, Deathsaurus, and now Lyle Kaiser. So I think that if you're a fan of Japanese G1, um, HasLab's probably going to be the place to be for the next couple while. That's what I think. Uh, but yeah, that's kind of where I could see them going with that for sure. But it's all that SDCC stuff, man. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens. Like there was no joke. There was points in that weekend where like there was rooms I never got to explore. There was a pinball room, an arcade room, that whole like Hall C or whatever it's called there, Hall A. Never even got near that, you know? It's gonna be it is gonna be bananas. Like I'm gonna have to balance my time across so much different things. It is gonna be crazy. And all the celebs that are gonna be there that are gonna be walking around. So it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. All I know is like it is going to be probably like the biggest amount of exchanges of business cards that whole weekend. Like just like, hey, let's do business. Let's talk about this. So it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be pretty cool, everything that's going on there. And I always tell people like San Diego, if you're going there as a fan, I don't know if I would recommend it. I don't know about that. But if you're going from a business standpoint, I think it's very much recommended. Very, very much recommended. Airy Nuts with the $2 super chat. How you doing, Airy? He-Man crossover equals Legacy Junkion retools. He-Man's got a little bit of that, Mad Max kind of vibe to some of their vehicles and stuff like that. Especially when you look at a lot of those Eternia vehicles. But I mean, I would like to believe that the He-Man crossover is is something that's more of an original tooling. I mean, the Sonic the Hedgehog one was a brand new tooling, and then if you look what happened recently, they did a Sonic the Hedgehog Magic the Gathering micro secret layer set. So if you're into Magic the Gathering, Sonic the Hedgehog, ooh, do I got something for you? And then they did Sonic the Hedgehog DC crossover figures too. So Sonic's been kind of crossing over with everybody right now. So He-Man is one of those things that I'm pretty sure when you look at He-Man, it's funny, I actually have this nearby because I was talking with a friend about it. If He-Man is willing to do crossovers with a whole bunch of different branding and stuff, um, and make the effort with the tooling, because the He-Man crossover will clearly be a Mattel thing. So if it's Mattel, I'm pretty sure Mattel, much like they did with the Hot Wheels Transformers, they're going to want to shell out to make sure that it's a brand new tooling for He-Man. They're not going to just take some old Hasbro molds that are modulators and just, oh, here you go, here's He-Man, and he comes apart, you know? I think it'll be something brand new from the ground up. Mike, fair point. That definitely leads me more into my thoughts of that Road Caesar will be the next HasLab. Road Caesar, Landcross, the combiner team also. I could see them even going outside of Victory and going, hey, let's look at Zone. You know, why don't we do uh, like two pieces of big powered. So you'll have like, okay, we'll give you Diatlas and Sonic Bomber, and they could combine and they can make their base modes. And then an unlockable will be Roadfire, Roadfire, which is significantly smaller than the others. Oh God, you can't even see it because the stupid box is in the way. But behind here's my Zone collection. But you know, it's something where I could see them do that. Oh, if you hit this tier, we'll unlock Roadfire, and then you could have all the big powered members. And then like, an extra tier will be like, oh, a PVC figure of Volinger, do some craziness like that. So it's like something that, I could see them going there, tackling that. I could see them going into some of the Japanese stuff that's uh before like Victory and Zone. So you could go into Master Force. You could do some of those designs if you want the bigger guys. They kind of already did, like you already got like Black Zarek, which sold terribly as a mainline retail product. But like Star Max had Overlord there. Overlord, I don't know. We got some pretty good Overlords. You just have to blow those up if anything. But I don't know. Overload, I think Lord they could still do Retric Diatlas would be awesome as a HasLab. I think so. Diatlas is always a cool character. I've always liked him. Again, not a fan of how he was depicted in the IDW comics, but that's a whole other thing. YLagY, welcome to the stream. Listening on the road. Well, keep your eye on the road, my friend. Keep your eye on the road then. Snell World, I want Autobot City as the next HasLab. Well, see, to me, I get this asked a lot. I would like Primus. I think that Primus would be due. Although, if we're talking 1986, we're talking 2026 HasLab, Autobot City Metroplex makes sense. Nice round year celebrating the 40th anniversary of the 86 movie. Autobot City Metroplex. And it's so intricate that in robot mode, it's all white. But when you do the city mode, it's all, orange. It kind of like has a dual coloring and stuff. That'd be really cool, because you kind of look at, and it's a unfortunately it's a product of the stock footage that was used from the original pitch trailer. But Autobot City, when it transformed, did have white elements to it, but it was those white elements that it gets complicated. Go watch the original trailer for when Autobot City transforms, and then you'll understand that Autobot City was never supposed to be orange. It was always supposed to be very Metroplex looking white Autobot City, but it's a whole other conversation. Yeah, James, that Black Zarek figure is amazing, but no one bought it and it went on clearance. And then I regret not buying it on clearance, because the Scorponok too is great, but it's the only Black Zarek that isn't made out of gold plastic, you know, cheap, cheap, as it should be. But, again, 1986, you do Autobot City. 1987, you could then go back into some Japanese stuff. Or if you really want to, 1987 would be like a beautiful 20th anniversary for the Michael Bay movies. So if they'll want to make a movie product, I don't know if they'll want to do that, but if they want to do some kind of celebratory movie product for the 20th anniversary for the HasLab, maybe not. Maybe they could still stick it in Studio Series and be satisfied. But if they want to do a big movie product or something, who knows? A Stratosphere, do a big Stratosphere. I don't think that would sell well, but it is something to consider. Uh, you got two of those Black Zareks, turn one into Double Punch. Well then, that's really cool. Pink fists. Mike Prime, I think Overload will be a Titan, Die Atlas, Roadfire, and Sonic Bomber definitely could be one. Landcross as well, maybe Grandis. Grandis is. I don't mention Grandis only because I love him and I don't know if anyone else would want him. But I love Grandis. I love Doug Bass, his Brave version. I love that design. I love that base mode. I love the working little. I have like this. I have this like thing for when you make play sets and they have like working elevators and stuff. Let me just crack open this guy here, you know. But it's like I just love it when they have little working elevators and everything. I always love that kind of stuff, you know. And Grandis, what's cool about his elevator is that it works with a motor through Star Convoy and stuff. So, but I love that kind of stuff because it creates like a world, you know, it creates a whole environment and everything. This is for people that are confused right now. This is Machine Robo, which is what GoBots was in Japan. This is the battle base, one of my lovely little grails. What a little missile launcher there. Very beautiful. Bought that at TF Con. Which TF Con I buy it at? The last one? I think it was TF Con. TF Con Baltimore. I don't know. They all start to. They all start to feel the same. I think it was Baltimore. Um, but yeah, I love little elevators stuff. Like Grandis was like this perfect little MicroMaster playset, and some of my first Transformers were MicroMasters, so I have like an extra love for that. So to have like a cool, tight little playset with a working elevator and launch pads and all of that, and then all your MicroMasters could live in that environment. You know, it's I love that. And Grandis, he also opens up like your classic, like almost like Mighty Max kind of play set kind of thing, you know? So it's like I love that kind of stuff. Love it. Talib, what's up? Welcome to the live T-Formers 2002 LA. It was Art Fire's table. No, it wasn't Art Fire's table at all. It was no, Art Fire didn't have that at all. It would have been way, no offense to Art Fire, it would have been way more expensive. I bought that for geez, what did I pay? 150, $200. I bought that from was it Tony's table? Gosh, who did I get it from? Gosh, but it wasn't Art Fire. I know that. I think it was Tony's table because I remember I saw it at his table, and I literally told him, "I'm like, put that aside for me. I'm going to come back at the end of this weekend when I have more money because obviously I'm selling the exclusive, so I don't want to. All the money that I have on me at that moment is all my change for the weekend for people's change when they buy the exclusives. So I was like, I'll give you $50 up front if you're worried, but I'll definitely buy it. And then by the end of the weekend, I picked it up. That was my big purchase of the weekend. A nice $200 glorious Machine Robo playset. Mike Prime, I've seen people ask for Grandis, but I don't see him doing well as a Titan. Well, as a Titan, the way I see it is he was a Micromaster playset, and so we have a whole bunch of Micromasters to begin with. So just give me a commander class that opens up and the Micromasters could live in that. And I'll be more than happy. Will it sell well? Probably not, because I'm the only weirdo that likes it. But Ark with the $5 super chat. Never seen your name before. Ark, how you doing? Thank you for the super chat. Welcome to the podcast. What do you think Liege is going to be? I was thinking a jet or a helicopter, maybe the first Pretender armor or is G2, inner robot, align. Well, all we know 100% is Liege Maximo is going to look like his Generation 2 counterpart. That's all we know. Should I reach for the books? Why not? Let's reach for G2. Let me get some G2 books here. No, not New Order. Where is the G2 one? Is it this one? Dark Design. No, that's not it. I have to go through all the G2 books here. Rage from the Heavens. There we go. These were like some of the best reissues of the old books back in the day. So, I mean, he is massive. You know, there's his only panel. The end. And he's huge. Look, there's like little dudes down there that are regular deluxe class if you want. So it's something where, I mean, for the longest time, just put this aside. Sorry, Butters. For the longest time, I've always said, like, if he's a commander class, I'd be cool with that, you know? Granted, he's not going to be a commander class, but I mean, I just hope he's something that's more organic-y, because it clearly is going to be based on that design. But then they could, look, I would have never imagined Solus would be a pickup truck. You know what I mean? Like if you would have told me, oh, what is Solus Prime going to turn into? She's one of the creators. She makes all the weapons. Like she's going to be something really cool. Pickup truck. Like Cybertronian pickup truck. So there's no rules with that. My Cronus, he has an armor. He's already kind of suggested as the beginning of Pretenders and the Apex armors and stuff like that. So it's something where I can't predict it. There's no rules with those guys. There really isn't. But I just hope that he's awesome. I'm just gonna. I don't care what he turns into. I'm gonna leave him in robot mode. I'm gonna have him like hulking above everyone else, and then let me grab this beautiful thing. And then I'm going to grab a whole bunch of the G-Axis soldiers. And I'll have all the G-Axis soldiers chilling around him. And he'll be amazing. That'll be my display. It'll be really, really cool. Talib. Ever do interviews on other YouTube channels? I do another podcast once in a while. It's a local one here in Montreal called Geektastic Cypher, but those are like friends that I've known since grade school. And Jaws D is on there a lot. It's like an all black podcast. So I'll go on there once in a while and hang out and talk. I actually did during the Big V, I did a big interview with them because everyone was stuck at home. So we all did like little segments with each other. I've never really sat down and done interviews really with other podcasts. No one's ever really invited me. And when they do, it's usually at times that like I'm not available. Like I work, I do my podcast. Like even today, like Larry, who's in the chat, he had a party today. I would have loved to go to that party. But it's like Saturday is getting groceries done, getting laundry done, getting everything done. And then I have the live stream here at 8 p.m. And then Sunday I could relax. Sunday I do nothing. I could just relax, play video games, watch a movie, eat, all that stuff. I'm surprised no one asked what I ate because I got something cool that I ate too. We bought food today. You could, if you want to see what I picked up, really cool actually what I ate today. But I won't say it unless someone asks. Aaron Archer's podcast is the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. If you want to hear my voice elsewhere. So go check that one out, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Go subscribe to that one. Go check out all those segments. What's cool about that is it's me, it's Aaron. We talk the business. We sometimes have guests from other companies and other toy lines, like the Beyblade segment. I loved that segment. That was so cool, that Beyblade segment, because it's Steve Bono. Steve Bono worked on alternators. Steve Bono was the mastermind behind Beyblade stuff. He ran tournaments for Hasbro, and then there's that all Transformer adjacent stuff that's going on there. There you go, Bigham. Bigham wins the prize. So what did I get? So we got today the Fantastic Four. It's called the Fantastic 4-in-1 exclusive Little Caesars pizza. So it comes with 4 different kinds of pizza. You get Human Torch, spicy hot jalapeno. You get the rocks of, it's just pieces of sausage that are supposed to be the rocks that represent the thing. You get stringy cheese, Mr. Fantastic. And then you get invisible, I'm not even joking, invisible toppings. It's just plain cheese. Pizza. Fantastic 4-in-1. And then 1 of 4 exclusive boxes. So I got 1 of the 4. If you collect all 4, it makes a giant image. I got the Human Torch one. I wanted the Thing one, but it's, so Fantastic 4-in-1 Little Caesars. How was it? It was okay. It was okay. I'll be honest with you. I figured why not? You only live once, You only live once, so once in a while we get a funky pizza or something. So I should have asked. I almost want to go back and go, hey, could I just get the thing box? Like, don't put the greasy pizza in there. Could I just get the thing box? I like good old Ben Grimm. He was my first comic book as a kid. You know, but so I mean, it has nothing to do with the movie. I just thought like, oh, that's cute. Like they did the Bat Calzone last time. I don't know if anyone remember when I bought that one on the podcast. Like I don't care about these movies or anything. Although I like the Fantastic Four as a comic book, and again, the Thing was my first comic book character I ever owned, and all of that. But it's something where I was just like, okay, I'll try it. I'll try it. Give me some crazy bread on the side. We're good to go. You know, and then we're good to go. So, but yeah, got that. So it was delicious to a degree. It was okay. It was okay. It was okay. The irony is literally, I think last week I just had like a Costco slice of pizza, and it's just as good. I don't know. Like food is wasted on me. Like I don't detect the nuances of like what is good food and what is bad food. It's all just like fuel for me. So it's got to be proteins. It's got to be vitamin C's. You know, that's how I work. Uh, but I just want a Thing box. That'd be cool. Get a box with Thing on it. Good old Jack Kirby. Good old Jack Kirby. Rest in peace, King. Rest in peace for all the contributions you've done to the industry. Let's put up this one. This was the Dark Design book. I think this was the beginning of G2. Yeah. This is all the other stuff, including the exclusive pages. Look at Hot Rod. Look at how grizzled he looks there for G2. We never got a G2 Hot Rod toy. It would have been so cool to get him in those colors. Like if they would have reissued it like that. I know obviously we got the reissue Hot Rod that has like those movie colors, but it's such a shame like with a white painted face and that missed opportunity G2 1993 Hasbro that totally crapped the bed and it didn't do well ultimately in the end. Just put away these books. Ugh. But yeah, that would have been cool. Would have been cool. I'm running out of water already, man. Running out. Bottle number 2. But yeah, it's that's what I had. We ate that. It was good. Wasn't very filling, but that's what we had to eat. We just wanted to just take it easy because the problem is on Saturdays because we're doing so much throughout the day. Like we would like this is literally our schedule. Saturdays we wake up early. We try to usually hit Costco first because Costco is a nightmare. So we try to go super early. We get all our stuff there because we get all our stuff from there. We get our eggs from there. We get a lot of our fruits and vegetables from there, organic fruits and vegetables, because some of that stuff, oof, you can't, no matter how much you try to wash it. Um, and then we hit up all the other places. We hit up all the other grocery stores that we need to. She goes to her Asian grocery stores and picks up her stuff. So, because she makes a lot of Korean food throughout the week that she then brings to work or whatever. Or sometimes for like the next couple of days if she wants to do that, or Japanese curry. And then we hit up all the toy stores along the way. We hit up Walmart, we hit up here, we hit up there, we check out GameStop just to see what's happening. We usually don't buy anything. I think the last time, gosh, I've been hitting up Walmart the past couple of weeks just hoping to find. The only thing that was cool, I saw Studio Series War for Cybertron Voyager class Ironhide that showed up, so that's brand new. But I'm still trying to find a Prima mint in box, so I think I'll get one, hopefully tax free and cheapy at TFCon. That'll be one of my goal items that weekend to get a nice Prima. And yeah, that's more or less it, But we spend the whole day doing that, and then when we get back, we don't have time to cook or anything, so we usually just pick up a pizza, and that holds us over. And put away all the groceries. Then I have to start planning for the live stream, so I have to do the slides and stuff. we got to put away all the groceries. We got to do laundry. So while we're doing laundry and we're preparing stuff like that, we clean up the house a little bit throughout the week. And the new thing that I hate is now, um, every time we buy water now, they take 10 cents off of us, and I buy water in bulk, so I lose like $11 every time. And now they force you to now have to recycle it at the recycling plant. They don't want you to put it in your recycling bins anymore. So you have to go to those machines where you get the money back for it. So every week, no joke, we probably have like, between orange juice bottles and this, we probably have like $11 in bottles. And so I have to go do that. And then there's a huge line because now everyone has to do that. So, and then the machines get jammed up and you have to wait for that. So there's a lot of busyness today. Saturdays are always nutty for me. T-Formers 2002. Last week, someone in Montreal spotted a Studio Series 86 Mixmaster and Gamer Thundercracker. Maybe you could get those early. That's possible. I didn't see. I went to Walmart today and a GameStop, and I didn't see that. I just saw the Ironhide. That was like the new thing for me. Oh, Ironhide's out, you know. So, which sometimes Montreal's behind, sometimes Montreal's ahead, you know. But we will see. We will see. The problem is unfortunately in my area there is a notoriously known scalper who's in the area, and he's some of the worst, some of the absolute worst, and he's been quite well known within the Montreal community as and he buys not just Transformers, like he buys Transformers to scalp, Marvel Legends, everything. And I'll never forget. This goes back a few years. Transformers Generations Thrilling 30. There was a sale at uh, I want to say, I think it was Toys R Us. And what he did is the day before the sale, he went and bought everything full MSRP, kept it. The day of the sale, he returned it, and then he convinced the cashier to rain check him everything, like give him the discount right there. And I don't know how he pulled that off because normally that's not how that works, but he did it, and he just liquidated all the inventory. And it was like crazy what he would do. There was, if anyone remembers, Energon Omega Sentinel. My goodness. Energon Omega Sentinel. He just went in there and just bought them all. Just bought them all. It was like emptied the shelf. And then he turned around, was just crazy. And it's tough. It's tough. And me, it's like, luckily, I don't freak out too much over scalpers and stuff, but I feel for people that have to deal with a lot of that stupidity. You know, it was kind of funny. Like, here, let me show you something. Little piece of. So I was talking with a friend of mine, and I found an old receipt. This is an old receipt from EB Games. This is when Amiibos first came out, right? This is from 2014. Okay. 2014. So I picked up Pokemon Omega Ruby, and then I picked up the first Amiibos: Peach, Mario, Samus, Link. $13.99. Now keep in mind that's the Canadian price. Okay. In America, I think they were $9.99. And we were joking about it because now those same Amiibos today, now Amiibos are $33. And it's crazy how just in a short span of time how much has changed. Rudy Mack with the YouTube member question: did Alpha Bravo and Rook refresh their trademarks? Unfortunately not. Both of those trademarks did not get refreshed, although technically if no one has bid onto them, Hasbro can can register them again and use them. That's assuming someone uses it. But unfortunately not. Those are two that when I did a segment about Alpha Bravo, I want to say 4 or 5 weeks ago, something like that. You know, uh, unfortunately, they were not registered, either of them. But yeah, But that guy in Montreal who's a scalper, I know there's some people in the chat that might know who I'm talking about because they're Montreal locals. He's a regular at the Montreal Toy Con. He would get a table there every year, and he was just one of the worst. And I remember people because I used to have a table at the Montreal Comic Con, Montreal Toy Con. I just don't have time anymore to do that show. But like when I used to get a table there, people used to come up to me and go like, "Oh my god, like his prices are so bad," and then they turn around and go buy stuff from him because they didn't have a choice. Because they'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm looking for deluxe class Ratchet. Oh, I hate him. Why is it so expensive?" And then they'd go to his table and buy it anyways. And I'd be like, well, he's gonna continue doing it if you keep buying from him. Because if you buy from him, he justifies him buying it. If you make him starve, and that's how you defeat scalping, you starve them. You make them have all this product, and then it sits in their basement. You make their wife yell at them. What are you doing? You're so stupid. Why did you buy all this stuff? If you starve them, then they will not do it. If you feed them, meaning you give them the money for that scalp, they'll keep doing it because it's a way to make money. So you got to starve them. So, but too many people, they're willing to pay it. They're willing to pay it. The prices are crazy. You know, the prices are absolutely crazy. I mean, what's going on with Magic the Gathering with Final Fantasy? Oh my goodness. $350 collector booster box selling for $1,200 now. And people are paying that. And then they wonder why. Well, you know, I don't understand. Why is everything so expensive? Why don't I have any money? Because you play in that game. Don't play in that world, man. Don't play in that world. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping yourself. And it's something where I promise you, if you're willing to wait a couple months and buy it then, it will be cheaper. It will be. Like no joke. Tell me one Transformer toy from Classics that has gone up significantly in value since its original MSRP. I can't name one. I can't name one. Like, the Classics Hot Rod at one point kind of went up in value when Protector was a thing. But that's when like third party was kind of also influencing the value of certain figures because of demand, because you had to get those figures for the armors or the upgrade kits. But like name one. Name one, you know? Most Classics figures, loose complete, you could probably buy for MSRP or less today. You know? Most of them. No joke. Let's get the phone out right now. Let's get the phone out right now. Let's go. Rodimus Supreme said Gun Megatron. Let's look. Let's look right now. We'll go on eBay. We'll look at sold listings. And I'm not talking mint in box because we're all opening them anyways. You know? We're all opening all that stuff. Megatron. Classics. Now let's do sold listings, not some idiot who's asking crazy buy it now prices, hoping some rich Chinese buyer, you know? Let's see. Like, I want to hear like a crazy number. I want to hear like, what? Because like Megatron was Voyager class, so that's back then. That was $24.99 MSRP. With inflation today, if you spent $24.99 back in 2006, it's probably about $40 today, something like that, 40, 45. So let's do that. And then sort by sold listings. And then let's see what we get. Sold $15. Did you make any money? Nope, you lost money. And the green one's under there. It's funny, the 2-pack one is 19. There you go. 15. What do we got here? One guy sold it a buy it now for 35, so that's still breaking even, when you factor in inflation. So Drift goes for crazy money, but that's generations. That's generations. Those are unique designs. They haven't done a new good Drift figure since. So that one makes sense. That one makes a lot of sense. But that's generated. I'm talking like, let's go 2006, next year, it's 20th anniversary. It's been 20 years since Classics. What in Classics has gone up in value? What in Classics has gone up in crazy value that you're like, man, I regret not buying it 20 years ago? Not much. Not much. But the flip side of that, if it was, Beast Wars and it was 10 years earlier, any G1 toy was going for crazy money. But again, different era. eBay didn't exist in its predominance yet. But let's look how much a drift goes for. I'm kind of curious now. But drift makes sense. That's a Chris Mowry kind of thing, design. Generations figure. They didn't do a proper update. Generations drift. Let's see some drifts. Yep. $42 with instructions. So yeah, you pretty much doubled your money on that one, because you're talking back then that was $10. So with inflation, it would probably be about $20 today. And then yeah, 42. Obviously eBay though takes their percentage. We're not going to talk about eBay fees and everything, but yeah, you doubled your money with drift. If you could get them for $42 sold, that's the way I kind of see it. Snell's World. Do you ever see Hasbro Takara reissue G1 Grand Max? Well, they reissued G1 Fort Max. They were hoping, I could tell you the story up front because I'm kind of in the DNA part of that. So when Takara Tomy did their Takara Tomy reissue Encore series of Fort Max, they were already hoping that eHobby would do a Grand Max repaint. And so they took out the sculpt molding for the Grand Max Pretender Shell Grand. The Fort Max sold poorly. It didn't sell well in Japan. End up going on clearance, no joke, which would have been a great opportunity for people to get a Fort Max if they never got one, the original, because it came with the Master Sword and everything. And because it sold poorly, they canceled the eHobby Grand Max reissue, but they already had the tooling for the mold ready to go. Fun Publication was like, hey, we'll use that tooling. And it got used for the subscription service Megatron. So that's kind of the micro story of that. So no, they won't, because the Fort Max didn't sell well. So if the Fort Max didn't sell well, do you think the Grand Max will sell well? And then when they did the modern version, when they did they took the Fortress Maximus updated Titans Return one, and they did the Grand Max repaint, Japan was like, hey, I think it was pre-order was what, 3,000 units? If we pre-order 3,000 units, we'll include a little Titan Master Pretender Shell. They didn't even hit 3,000 units. It sold that poorly. So they didn't even include the extra Titan Master Pretender Shell to be grand. So 2 for 2. Big guys don't sell well in Japan. It's very dangerous. They don't got the space for it. My Silver Bullet is arriving on Thursday. Can't wait to have them. That's awesome. Finish your aerial bots. Ashnud, I want to say I got around $25 for each of my classics unopened. I think I got 90 for Jetfire. For my Jetfire was $90. Oof. Wow. The Voyager, the one with the mask that comes off, man, that's expensive. Alden Toll with the $2 super chat. Bay return reacts both yeah and do a girly scream. I'm hesitant. I said it before at the top of the segment. I understand why they're probably deciding to bring Bay back from a business side of it, but I also think they need to realize it's a different world we live in today. So, and again, they're looking at that recent documentary that Bay did that was very well received. So I think they're going like, oh, well, the documentary he did was much beloved and well received. So maybe we could capture that fire again. Yeah, but it's not a documentary we're recording, and it's a different time. People are a little burned out. If Transformers 1, as amazing as it was, didn't do well, are we really turning the tide here? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I really don't. I think they need to take a break for 2 years. Ashnud, I made more selling the mini cons over the actual bots. Oh, did you sell some bots? I always like to hear about people selling bots. Mike Prime 21. Oh yeah, I got Fireflight and Skydive pre-ordered. Hopefully they arrive September instead of October. Well, if it's from Hasbro Pulse, don't don't hold your breath on that. So you're almost better buying in person in a lot of ways. Bigum, I put them together three and a half, three and a fifth of Spirion and 2/3 of Devastator today. Well, Devastator is almost complete too. That's going to be another one. All out of water now. I'm all out of water. Butters, can you get me some water, brother? No? No? Just going to just chill there staring at me? Butters, we got 10 minutes left. You're not going to get me some water? I give you water all the time. You give me no water? Man. I see how it is. I see how it is. Um, but yeah, Bay, because he's working on he did that documentary, and it was at the South by Southwest Film Festival, and that was well received. And everyone's like, "Yeah, Michael, it's your," no joke, it was his most well received movie he's ever done. I think on Rotten Tomatoes they were saying, and like that's including like The Rock, Armageddon, Bad Boys, Pearl Harbor. So like they were like, wow, like maybe Michael has finally entered his good movie phase or something. And I'm talking like the cinemaphile people, you know. And so I guess maybe Hasbro's like, oh, maybe he could do the movies again. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in their heads. I have a very different mentality of how you fix the Transformer brand for the mainstream audience, because us as Transformer fans, we're always going to show up. So it's something where, you're able to have this balance of make the fans happy and do something that tricks, and I emphasize tricks the normies into the theaters, you know? But at the same time, it's like they have different people behind the scenes that do this stuff, and I'm not going to tell them the secrets. You want to fix Transformers? Give me a call. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to sell everything for free here. It's bad enough already. I hear enough people that work behind those doors that watch the podcast, and I could only imagine how much Captain Enning, and that's a term we're going to use here, how much Captain Enning is going on when it comes to that, where they take my ideas and bring it into boardrooms as their ideas. Butters actually chases his own tail. No joke. Um, he has this thing where when we when we go to shower, for whatever reason, the light in my bathroom cascades a light on him, and he sees his own shadow and his own tail, and he chases it. And it's only when we do that. I don't know why. It's like he goes crazy when we go in the shower or something. But he's otherwise a very chill cat. Very smart otherwise. Joseph, what's up, Joseph? Why no love for C-Cons at Hasbro? Well, they did the C-Cons with Takara, and then they did the repaint with God Neptune, and they chose not to import them over here outside of doing it through Hasbro Pulse. They could technically reissue those old ones again, and I'm pretty sure they'd sell well, but they'd have to have the factory space for it first. Hey, factories in Vietnam, do you have space to do this whole rollout of product? No? Okay. Maybe in a year from now. That's probably the long, short answer of that. Not to mention the problem with Seacons, and it's kind of the same thing with a lot of the others. That's a lot of deluxes that all look kind of the same, that all have the same color scheme. I know, yeah, you go, oh, one is this kind of fish, and one is that kind of fish, and one is this, but they're all kind of the same kind of thing, that are all those same kind of pinks and blues and coral colors and salmon. And imagine like wave one, and you have two of those there. And then the next wave, you have two of those there, filling a case of like a deluxe. Like they want to put variety. And you could kind of get away with black jet and red jet. You could kind of get away with it with like red car, like yellow car and black car. You could kind of get away with it when each of the limbs of the Constructicons is in a Voyager in a separate wave alone, or in a box set like the Commander box set. But two Seacons together that look so the same. They'd want to they want a variety in an 8-pack of 4 different characters in a deluxe case assortment. Aaron has talked about that in the past. You don't want to have two green tanks together, and that's something they've avoided many times. T-Formers 2002. I have a cat that plays fetch. Oh, that's very cool. My cat, I'm sure I could throw something. He'll chase after it. I don't know if he'll bring it back, though. Joseph Michael Bay sucks. And you won't watch his crap anymore. Tired of the sharp, ugly robots. Well, that's a design choice. I don't think Michael Bay is really behind the design choices. That's more whoever is designing the toys and thus designing the characters. So that's more Hasbro's choices. I use the term American Mecha. Ritrick, are Hasbro and Takara figures all made in the same factories? I recently got my hands on the KDEX Burning Convoy, and the plastic feels much nicer than the other figures. So I have a theory, Ritrick, and I'm going to stand by that theory. It's not that they're made. It's not that they're made in different factories. They're still made in the same factories. I'm going to use this boy here as an example. It's that there's different design molds, right? So these Wild King figures, if anyone has messed with them, I find that the plastic on them is a lot more dense on this. This is something that would have been almost the equivalency of like a core class, maybe a scout. We'll call it a scout class. Something of the equivalent of a scout class. This thing is solid. This thing is like, it's a solid. There's like a ratchety kind of joint to it. Like I feel there's just a little extra going on there. Like there's little ratchets in there that it feels tight. Feels tight. Giggity. Feels tight. Feels good. But this is a product that they know 100% is only for the Japanese market. It's not going to be made in mass for the American market. So I guess they filled out the molds denser with denser plastic, designed it to be filled out denser and look nicer. And it's great. Where, gosh, wet fart, you know? Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. Like, buy that on red tag clearance. What did I pay for that? Oh, God. $6 too much. $6 Canadian. I keep it on a card as an example, I keep that nearby if I need to have yeah. So like that's something that's just a floppy mess, Here's another one, red card. All these red tag clearance. This is Earthspark, $6 Soundwave. Yeah. Clearance. All that Earthspark stuff, man, did not do well. The only one that I bought full price. I'm not going to reach for it now. Was the Hot Rod Prowl? That was the only one that I wanted. Yeah. Where are we at? Don't want to miss any questions. T-Formers 2000. The thing also with Seacons is having a big deluxe sized gun mode that really doesn't work very well. Well, they don't really think about that. They don't really think about like, oh, how the gun modes work or what you're going to do with the toys, Joseph says here, if it only takes one thing away from this episode is Perlman saying wet fart. You know who invented wet fart? No joke. You know who invented wet fart? I heard that term and I've been sticking with it. BotCon 2010. I don't know who it was. But BotCon 2010 was done in Orlando. It was done at the Disney location. There was no air conditioning in that dealer room. No one was showering. Everyone was sweating. And to quote someone, and I heard someone say it, and they said the room smells like someone put wet fart on the carpet, and like the carpet was just wet fart, and it just smelled absolutely terrible. I remember a little girl turning to her dad and going, "Daddy, why does it smell weird in here?" And it was just, ugh. And that's where it kind of wet fart. And certain things in Transformers to me are just a wet fart. It's a waste of time. Good old skid marks. But not Skids the figure. But yeah. So it's there's certain figures that just like they're just low quality from the get-go. They're just low quality from the only good thing out of that BotCon 2010, because I hated that year. It was in Disney. It was extremely hot. Everything was overpriced. The hotel room was overpriced. The box set wasn't that great because I think that was like the G2 year. Was that the G2 year? Yeah, I think that was the G2 year. It wasn't that good. That was the one that came with um with Pyro, but they couldn't call him Pyro for whatever reason. They just repainted Inferno, and it didn't come out that great. The only good thing about it was the best Hall of Fame dinner we ever had. It was like the Oscars. That's the only thing I could say. Aaron Archer was there. It was fantastic. And they were asked to dress up, suit and tie. We wore suits. We wore nice outfits. We wore dress shirts. And there were still people in flip flops and shorts and not being classy. But that's how it is, At least bring a dress shirt. Yeah, the G2 Redux. That's it. That's what it was. Actually, I have all the box sets here. BotCon 2010, Walt Disney Dolphin Resort, June 24th to 27th. Oh, it was in June. No wonder it was so hot. I have all the box sets all stacked up like a wall. Let me take a photo of it. I could get a nice photo of it. I can't get a nice photo of it. It's not going to reach anyways. There was people in like shorts and flip-flops in the Hall of Fame dinner. Like imagine like an Oscar level giggity. They were in a Hall of Fame dinner. Nice suit and tie dinner, great food, like just nice environment like the Oscars. And I remember like Brian Savage and them going like, this is going to be a nice suit and tie dinner, so make sure to bring that. There were so many people that just looked like they just walked out of Walmart. I was just like, and then we never got it ever again. We never got a good one ever again. All the other Hall of Fames after that were just not that same caliber. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Such a shame. You got to bring. I like Transformers when it tries to take itself seriously and class it up and have cool events and everything. And Aaron and you guys who pushed for that, all the credit to you. It was really good. Proto, have you ever filmed a collection tour? Nope, and I never will. I was always given the important piece of advice that you should never do a tour of your collection or of your house because people are always looking to steal stuff. And if they know how your house is mapped up and they know where the rare items are, they could break into your house and get what they need and get out before the alarm even goes off, So no, you get to enjoy what you see behind me. You don't know where it is. I could be on the 9th floor. I could be on the 8th floor. I could be in a bunker. You don't know how to get to this room. Maybe it's behind a hidden wall. But no, I don't do that. You get to see what's behind me when I do my segments. If I'm in my living room, if I'm in my kitchen, if I'm in my video game room, there's been videos online of people talking about my collection, but I rather not. And especially because there's people out there that if they see a window in the background, they're able to use Google Earth to figure out where that window is and then where he's located. And then, he's at TFCon, so he's not home, so I could rob his house then, There's a lot of weirdos. There's a lot of weird people that try to get my address. Oh, I want to send you something, Proto Man. Okay, here's the P.O. box. Oh, but if I send it to you to a P.O. box, I can't put proper tracking on it. Send me your home address. No, thank you. My buddy Ego Raptor warned me of that because he made a big mistake of doing that. I don't know if you guys know Game Grumps, my buddy Ego Raptor. He does YouTube video game stuff. One of the biggest pieces of advice he ever gave me is never give your home address even to a fan, because you don't know. You don't know. And he gave his home address to certain fans that wanted to send him stuff. And then all of a sudden, people were stalking outside his house. So, and he would go on convention trips and stuff. And then his wife was back home and his stuff was there. And you got to be careful with that. You got to be very careful with that. Can we get cooking with Proto? My wife is the cook. She's really good. I could cook a decent breakfast, eggs, scrambled eggs. I cook to survive. But in terms of a good cook, it's the lady upstairs, not me. She's really good. She's really good. And she gets that from her mother. So, the clench from Onslaught was cool. Yeah, it was cool. And we haven't gotten a good clench since, so I'll give that one, you know. And the Sharkticon was okay. I mean, it's more just because that Sharkticon mold is awesome from Skybite, and then they did the Army Builder set too of the three of them. But that's because that mold is awesome. Um, but yeah, like I give this advice to anybody, like even if you're not like a big YouTube celebrity or something, like don't give out your address all willy nilly because if people know that you have stuff, people know I got stuff, like people know I got crazy this collection, crazy that collection, comic books, this, that, everything. So they know, oh, Proto Man's at San Diego Comic-Con. He's not going to be home. Great time to rob him, guaranteed, you know? So you don't put yourself in those situations. So I have a PO box. People send stuff to my PO box. That's it. Makes my life easier. Oh, you can't send the PO boxes? I'm sorry. Then bring it to me in person at a con or something. I don't want to sound cruel, but it's just you got to protect your own privacy. You know? No, I've had people that tell me, "Oh, if you put tracking on a PO box, it can." Again, I'm not going to stress over it. Joseph says he will be selling Proto's address at San Diego Comic-Con. You know what's funny, Joseph? Where's that box? Ugh. Ah, yes. This is the box with Joseph's address on it. But Joseph doesn't care if people know where he lives. Um, to the highest bidder. I don't think you'll get much for it though. Where are we at here? Peeping through windows. But see, that's the thing. Like Ego Raptor, he took a photo of, I think it was his backyard or something. He was in his backyard and he took a photo, and someone was able to figure out where that backyard was based on Google Maps. And then they were able to like figure out where he lives. And then you have weirdos like that. You know what I mean? And then you have weirdos like that. They figure out where you live based on that. Oh, the tree, that's a specific tree in this specific area. And oh, I recognize that street. And that's it. And what are you going to do? Buy a new house? Now you got to move because all the weirdos figured out where you live? You're going to ruin your whole life over that? No. And when you have a family, do you want to include them in that in that psychosis? In that craziness? So I'm very hesitant with that kind of stuff. Just take my word for it. I have a lot of crap. Just take my word for it. I have a lot of stuff. I was a completist for Transformers literally up until the movies came out. And then I pretty much still tried to buy everything. So there's very little that I'm missing up to certain points. It's more just upgrading, as I like to call it. I just found out recently that my McDonald's Red Alert from Armada. Let me show you guys something. Hold on. Let me grab something from the Armada display. Grab this guy. Check this out. Very weird. Talk about weird plastic. This guy has been in vehicle mode. Okay, he's been in vehicle mode in this display forever. Now, granted, at one point he was stored in a steamy basement before I moved out. Half of his plastic. Look at this. Just half. Not like the whole other side. This whole piece here is one piece. It completely turned. I don't know what the hell happened there. What? So now I got to find myself another Armada Red Alert McDonald's that isn't yellowed. Probably won't cost me that much. It's a McDonald's toy, but what happened there? One piece is MABS, one piece is ABS. Very weird. Very, very weird. Let's transform him. This guy. But very, very weird. You know? I've never seen that. Uh, should I? Well, you know what's funny? Like, no joke. If it wasn't for the big V, I probably could have gotten an extras role on Rise of the Beasts. But the big V made it really difficult. There's your red alert. See, and he has no yellowing anywhere else. It's just that one piece there on the hood, which it's funny because it's actually, you could actually disconnect it, and it's there's just something weird about it. Like half of it completely yellowed. It's like they use two different plastics for two different halves of the. It's kind of like the Super Nintendo, how like the outer shell is made out of one plastic on one half, and the inner shell on the bottom is made out of another plastic. But yeah, during Rise of the Beast, when they were recording in Montreal, they were calling for extras. But the problem was because it was during the Big V, they were like super locked down about it, like, with the masks and everything. So I wasn't going to go through that headache. I was already on the set for a lot of stuff, taking a lot of photos and everything. I wasn't going to bug, hey, could I also like try to be in the movie? And then you had to go through the COVID tests and all that kind of stuff. It was a nightmare. So it was just like, okay, I'll just be here and recording footage, taking pictures. So, but that would be cool. That would be like the last bucket list thing to do. Like I'd like to write one Transformers episode if that's possible. I was lucky to do comic stuff, but I would like to write one Transformer episode if possible, or voice act one Transformer character. Preferably an original character would be cool, so I can make it my own. I wouldn't want to have to do like, oh, you're going to do Ironhide, and then I'm locked into Peter Cullen's Ironhide. Like that's you all of a sudden you have to stay within those parameters. Oh yeah, but Proto, you could do whatever you want. Yeah, but you know how it is. Where if it's an original character, at least you could do your own thing, and no one's going to expect anything of it. You look, if you gave me Starscream and I don't do Chris Latta, you know, you're not going to win, you know? So it's not Sunlight. This was bought brand new from McDonald's back in the day by me. Then it was put in a display in a basement forever, no sunlight exposure. And then at one point, it was stored in a box for approximately 1 month in a steamy boiler room. There's the thing, in a steamy boiler room, and then went into the display. I don't remember. And again, all the other toys don't get affected by yellowing or the lights or anything. I use museum lighting for all my Transformer toys here. So something happened at some point and half of it turned, just half. So weird. So weird. Luckily, and it's the only thing that's ever had all my other Transformers have never had that yellowing problem. So this is such a weird example. And I only noticed it because if anyone saw, I did my photo shoot recently of the Japanese hot shot. So I busted this guy out to take photography with it, and I noticed that, and I was like, "Oh no, that's ugly. Oh no." So yeah, that's that. And I got two of these Japanese hot shots. I bought two of them while I was in Japan, so I might sell the other one. I'm not sure yet. But anyone ask him what's for dinner yet? Yeah, pizza. Fantastic Four pizza for anyone who missed it. Uh, Ashnud, I'm extra in Battleship. You're an extra in Battleship. Oh, they maybe do it on the day off. I hate that movie. Hey, well, you get to be an extra in a Hasbro movie. So that's to say something. That's still cool. Luckily Montreal has a lot of filming here because it's New York pretty much. Like whenever they have to record a movie that's based in New York, they always do it in Montreal because Montreal looks like New York and it's built like New York and it looks like New York, just doesn't have the crime like New York. So Rise of the Beast was in New York. So what did they do? They were recorded in Montreal. When they do the X-Men movies, a lot of scenes are recorded in Montreal. So I think it was Age of Apocalypse, the mall scene. I was on the set for all of that. Took tons of photos of that. Had a chance to be an extra, but I didn't bring any 80s clothing. So cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Uh, this will be the last question. Then we're going to be done for the day. Ashna, 5 to 15 for that red alert. It's worth as much as some classics. Really? $5? I really that's buy it now eBay silliness. That's silly. This guy, I get it. If this is $15 because this is a Japanese exclusive, I'm pretty sure. Now that I know, I guarantee I probably passed up on so many of these at so many conventions. I guarantee I could probably find this for $1 or $2. Now that I know to look for one, I'm going to look for one now quite extensively. It has to be in perfect condition. But such a shame because this was the one I bought back in the day. This was the, and I have another one because I always buy two of everything back then. So I have another one bagged, but I don't want to open the bagged one. So if I could find one loose, nice and cheap, in good shape to replace it, poor Red Alert with your RoboCop head. God, these are like the last of the good transforming toys too for McDonald's. They are the animated ones were good too, but good stuff. Anyways, guys, that's it more or less for tonight. Sealed on eBay. Ugh, I'm not going to buy. I'm not going to pay the sealed premium if I could just open. If I'm going to open it after, but I'll find a loose one cheap. I know I will. I'm pretty sure there's bins of these somewhere at like garage sales and flea markets. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. It has been the Transformer Slag Podcast, Saturday Night live stream and main event. I am your host, Proto Man, and I hope you enjoyed the robots in disguise. We're going to talk more Transformers next week. We have some more reveals that we're going to be doing next week. The TFCon exclusives, specifically the Patreon exclusives. We got a whole bunch of stuff we got to announce. And a whole bunch of other good stuff too. So stay tuned for that. I don't know if it's going to be a busy week of Transformer news this week because a lot of the beans were spilled, probably like exclusives and stuff maybe. So we'll stay tuned for that. But thanks again for all the love and support. Once again, if you want to support the podcast, again, Patreon link down below. That's the best way to support the podcast. Get your name on the end credit scroll, access to the Discord. If you're part of the podcast for more than 2 months and it's still an active member, it gives you access to our TFCon exclusives that we have, that we do every year for fans, of the podcast. Again, I like to give back somehow every year. So check that out, yo. And as always, thank you for all that you do, all that you watch, all that you hang out, all the people that super chatted, Joseph, Alden, Rudy Mack, and anyone else that I'm forgetting. Again, thank you. And enjoy your evening with your family and just chill out. Yeah, join Star Warrior. Billy B is here too, who's also a patron. T-Formers is a double dipper because you have the people that are patrons and YouTube members, the beautiful green names. So check them out. I'm out of here, guys. Check out Aaron Archer and the Toy Armada. If you want to listen to some extra content and go, be sure to pick up his Posca paintings before he does TFCon and they all sell out. Go check out Symbiote Studios and the beautiful Plush that will be coming to San Diego Comic-Con, and pick up stuff from their website too. A nice t-shirt like the Grimlock that I got right now and all the other ones that they'll be having at San Diego Comic-Con. And go check out Hasbro. And literally in 2 weeks from now, we're going to have Cyberworld debuting on Hasbro's YouTube channel. So go check that out too. Thank you for all the beautiful sponsorship. I'm out of here, guys. Take care of yourself, your friends, your families, your loved ones. And as always, roll out.